Hello, wonderful to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee Cookies and Books, and I thought what we do today is talk about what do I have on pre-order. So let's talk about what I have on pre-order. Now, I don't think I have that many, maybe 15 books between now and say April next year. I do typically have more now than I've ever had. And I think that's because since I started the channel and I do the monthly book releases videos, I tend to put more on my dates kind of closer together. So, like at the end of October, beginning in November, I will do the list for December. So, what I have right now that's in December may change. It may not, because I actually do create the lists for the videos that I'm going to do for you a good bit ahead. So, I'm probably going a month to 2 months ahead of when I actually film it, is when I create those lists so that I have everything ready and I don't have to do it last minute. And then a lot of times I will add books into my pre-order that way as well. Some books, and there will be one in particular, which I will mention when we go through, am kind of hoping that Book of the Month is going to have. And if they do have it, then I may very well get it through them. And there's also potentially the opportunity for me to get some books through Aardvark as well. And if I can get them through Aardvark and Book of the Month, I'll typically cancel my pre-orders on Amazon. So I'm in Canada, and the only other option we have is really Indigo, uh, above, over and above Amazon. And Indigo is very expensive for pre-orders, like for regular priced books. Typically, you want to go into an Indigo and get it on sale, which you're not going to get with new books that are coming out. Uh, and frankly, I'm not going to order anything from Barnes and Noble. It's way too expensive. Then you have to pay duties when they're coming across the border. It's just like a freaking nightmare. Seriously, a nightmare. So in most cases, well, 99% of the cases, uh, if I'm going to get something on pre-order, it's going to be through Amazon. That's just the way it is, which is why I really do watch Book of the Month and Aardvark very closely, because they are my other options for getting them, and getting them in hardback and getting them in good quality and being able to enjoy the read. And then I have a lot of books that are the same format, which I do like that, especially for hardbacks. Not so fussy for paperbacks, it doesn't really matter so much, but definitely for hardbacks. So what I thought I'd do is go through everything. Now, I'm filming this on the 18th of October, so I do have two books that are pre-ordered for this Tuesday coming up, the 21st, and I'll tell you what those two are. And then going forward from there to the end of the year, and then just a few dates in 2026. Okay, so let's start with the first book that I have on pre-order for the 21st, which is this Tuesday, is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I actually loved the sound of this. I like the fact that it is not part of another series. So, I didn't have to worry, did I read a series or didn't I read a series? It says it's book one of Ghosted, so I don't know if there are plans for other books in this series, but this is book one. So we're going to give it a try. And it says, he's the ghost of Christmas past. She's not exactly Scrooge. Ghost of Christmas past, Nolan Callahan intends to spend his holiday haunting like every other. Get in, get out, return to his otherwise aimless existence as a ghost awaiting the afterlife. But when he's faced with Harriet York, the sweetest assignment he's ever had, he suddenly finds himself wishing for her future. Harriet York has no idea why she's being haunted. She's a good person, or at least she tries to be, a people pleaser to her core. She always does what's expected of her, but as she and Nolan begin to examine her past, they discover there are threads that bind them together and realize there might be more to moving on than expected. With the deadline of Christmas Eve fast approaching, will they find the key to their futures in each other's past, or will they stay firmly in the present, indulging in their unexpected, spirited connection? Filled with magic, mayhem, and cozy holiday charm, this swoony romance is B.K. Borison's best yet. So I liked it because it's Christmas, so that's number one. And number two is because it has a bit of cozy feel. So I kind of really like that. Now, I already kind of have my books in general picked out for what I'm going to read for Christmas, but not specifically the Christmas ones. And this one here I really want to read. So it's probably going to go on the must part of that list. And then there's going to be kind of a random part of the list, which you will see when I do my December TBR. But anyways, that one's for Tuesday. That's coming in. The other one that I have that's scheduled for Tuesday, oh, and I am going to put the book covers up here so you can see what the book covers are. So the other one that I have scheduled for the 21st is Secret Haven, book 6 of the Sparrow Falls series by Catherine Cowles. Now, I have up to book 3, I think. I've only read book 1. I love her writing. Love the fact that it's romantic suspense. That is huge for me. One of the things I love. So each book deals with a different couple. So I can read the synopsis. Now, in this particular case, it centers around sort of a found family element that starts in book 1. So I would say read book 1. Then I think you could skip around in the series, so I don't know that you would necessarily have to read every single book, but you might want to read the books that relate to the people that you like the best from the found family. So that would be my advice on it, and that's simply because it does center around those people, and it would make it a heck of a lot easier to follow the core of the series. I believe there's only going to be 6 books, and this is the last one coming out. So it's a heart-stopping small-town romance, the next in the Sparrow Falls series. The first time I met Kyler Blackwood, he was a bruised and battered boy with fire in his eyes and nowhere safe to land. Since the first time he kissed me, he was my best kept secret, my quiet rebellion, my haven in the storm. But fate forced us apart, making us pretend to be strangers because it hurt too much to be anything else. Years later, time hasn't dulled what we felt, has never erased the way we fit, and when Kai's past collides with my present, everything shifts. It's a choice neither of us expected. So, love the sound of that. And Kai, if I'm not mistaken, is a hockey player. One of the guys from the found family, one of them is a professional hockey player. I think it might be him. Just trying to remember. Anyway, yes, love it. Have it on pre-order. Can't wait to get it. And then I just have to fill in all of the other ones in between after I read the first couple. Not a rush, but this one is coming out new, and it's coming out in a deluxe edition. So I wanted to pick it up because I noticed that you can't always get all of the other ones in deluxe edition. So I think there's always a limited supply on these. So if you want to pick one up, some of them you get with the sprayed edge and deluxe style. Some of them you don't. Is what it is. So our next date is October 28th. And October 28th, I have 3 books, which is, I think, kind of my maximum. I usually have 1, 2, or 3. It's rare I would have more than 3. The other thing I did want to mention is, while the first 2 were romances, you're going to see that there is a bit of a variety of what I pick, and that is because I don't read just romances. I don't read just fantasy. I don't read just thrillers. I don't read just sci-fi. Just repeating myself there. But I read all of them. So this kind of reflects that, okay? It reflects a lot of my taste and all of that kind of thing. The first one in the ones that for the 28th, which would be the following week, is first one is Undead and Unwed by Sam Tschida, and this is a cozy mystery type one. I believe it's a bit paranormal because I think she's a witch or something, or is she a vamp? No, she's a vampire. Okay, so this one is Tiffany may be 300 years old, but she's still a hot mess. The vampire is tragically single, works a dead-end job at a blood bank, and spends her nights marathoning Hallmark Channel movies with her cat. When Tiffany inherits a fixer-upper home in Valentine, Vermont, thanks to a case of mistaken identity, stolen identity, she seizes the chance to get her life back on track. With her newly undead neighbor, it was an accident, in tow, Tiffany is determined to live out her holiday rom-com dreams in this picture-perfect town. But between the mystery of her stolen identity, small-town drama, and the arrival of her insufferable vampire ex-boyfriend Vlad, getting her happily ever after with a hot Christmas tree farmer won't be easy. To uncover what she truly desires, Tiffany must embark on a journey of self-acceptance for the first time in her immortal life. Luckily, it's never too late to start therapy. So I thought this sounded hilarious. Yeah, it's 320 pages, so it's a good length read for cozy. Some of them are so super short that I kind of appreciate the ones that are like 300 pages. Yeah, I can't honestly, can't wait to read this one. Okay, next one that I have that is also for the 28th is 640 to Montreal by Eva Jurczyk, and this is a thriller, I believe, suspense thriller, yeah. And when I featured this on my October releases list, loved the sound of it, and of course, it's in where I live, because I live in southern Ontario, and I'm from Toronto, and this is about a train going from Montreal to Toronto. I believe it is nonstop. There's no Wi-Fi, no distractions, and then something happens. It's got to be good, right? It's this woman, her husband gives her this first class ticket. She gets on this train with the idea that she's going to be able to work and be productive and concentrate. Yeah, well, you know how those things go, right? Okay. So that's that one. Always good, always good. Okay, the next one is the fourth book in the Gods and Monsters series, The Wrath of the Fallen by Amber V. Nicole. Now, I'm not going to read the synopsis because this is a continuation. I have read the first book, which is the Book of Azrael. I read that just a month or two ago. Enjoyed it thoroughly, and I do have the other two books, the next two, so this one I will be getting it. They tend to get longer as they go in. This one's 672 pages, not a short book, but yeah. So that is the third book that I have scheduled for the 28th. So then the next date we have is November 4th, and for November 4th we have two books. The first one is The Bridesmaid, which I actually just reviewed. So if you go back to my September reviews, you can see my review on The Bridesmaid. And yes, I've read it, and I read it as an e-arc and thoroughly enjoyed it. But I read it as a not a final edit, but liked it enough that I want to buy it. So I am getting the paperback. This is by Cate Quinn, and it is just briefly, it's a situation where there's a wedding. one of the bridesmaids dies, high profile, then somebody is recruited to come in and help solve the murder, and she knew the victim. So that's all I'm going to say. I would definitely say go back and watch my review of it. And it's, I guess, more murder mystery, not particularly what I would consider to be thrilling. I mean, it had some fun aspects to it too, because I really loved the personalities of the people. Yeah, it was just, and it's like rich people behaving badly, a little bit of that. Yeah, so anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that one. So that one is November 4th. And then the next one that is November 4th is Empire of the Dawn, which is book 3 of the Empire of the Vampire series. Again, cannot necessarily read the synopsis because this is a continuation of the first 2 books, which I do have. So that's why I picked up this one. Can't wait to read them. Always can't wait to read them. So that's that one. The next date is November 11th. And the first book that I have is Your Knife, My Heart by K.M. Moronova. Now, this is part of a similar feel to Leave Me Behind. So it is a military suspense romance, but I don't know that there's no continuation. It's just different couples in each book, and I think different situations for each couple. So I don't know how much you have to read necessarily the first one. I do have the first one. There's this one, and then there's another one that's coming out in December, which I am also going to pick up because I love any kind of romantic suspense, military, that kind of thing. This has a bit of a dark feel to it. So I think I can read the synopsis on this, and it won't give it anything away from the first book, if you want to read the first book. So it says, dark, deadly, irresistible. Cameron Morton has a problem. He can't stop killing his partners. Officially labeled clinically insane, he's also one of the most lethal assets in the Dark Forces, a brutal underground military operation built on obedience, survival, and silence. But an experimental drug has fractured his control, making him a liability whenever someone else is on the field. I like my English. I do this all the time. Okay. As punishment, he's thrown back into the Undertrials, a merciless boot camp designed to break the weak and sharpen the ruthless. He has one directive: don't kill the new girl. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's actually quite a long synopsis, but I love it. It does say that, so just the comments at the bottom: brutal, emotional, and unforgettable. K.M. Moronova pulls no punches, a dark, aching romance that left me breathless and begging for more. Every chapter has a punch to the gut in the best way. So I love the sound of that. It sounds like it's just the kind of romance that I like to read. Yeah, I know. There's something wrong with me, right? Yeah, something wrong with me. Okay. So then the next one couldn't be more opposite of that one for the 11th of November. So yes, that was November 11th, in case I didn't say, for Your Knife, My Heart. The next one is part of the Legend of Lattes series, Brigands and Breadknives by Travis Baldree. I have read the first 2. Legend of Lattes, I liked it, but the other one was Bookshops and Bone Dust. I loved that one. And the main character for this 3rd book came from that book. So I'm hoping I'll like it. I've heard people say that it's not as related, like you don't get as much of the Legend of Lattes world in this one as much as people would like. And I'm like, I don't really care because you didn't in the first one either. I mean, in Bookshops and Bone Dust, the 2 were not related, but what's the only thing that's related is one of the characters, which I loved, which is the bookshop owner from the first, from Bookshops and Bone Dust. I keep saying the first, but that's because that was a prequel. And so this one is kind of at the same time frame as Legends and Lattes. So we will see. I am looking forward to reading it. Like I said, I enjoyed both, just one a little bit more than the other one. So now we're going to move on into December. And the first book I'm going to mention is the one that I'm actually kind of hoping that Book of the Month is going to have, and that is The Rebel and the Rose by Catherine Doyle. So this is the book 2 of The City of Fantome. First book was The Dagger and the Flame, and Book of the Month had that one. I'm going to be cutting it close because typically what Amazon does is takes the payment on the first, like the day before, and then ships it on the second. But Book of the Month does tend to have feature their books the day before the end of the month. So I'm hoping there's going to be enough time for me to be able to cancel this order. I mean, technically, I'm probably going to go back and look because not every pre-order do you get a deal on the book. So I'll see if this one's not, then I may just take it off because I can order it anyway. So I may very well do that because there is a good chance that Book of the Month will carry the second one in the series. And if they do, I would like to get it. So we shall see. So that is The Rebel and the Rose, and this is a continuation. This is Ransom and Sarah, and yes, it was fantasy romance, but with very light on the romance. I thoroughly enjoyed the story, liked our characters, and I liked how it ended. It was a very kind of little bit of a cliffhanger, but not completely a cliffhanger. It's just hard to describe. Anyway, I did really like it, but I cannot read the synopsis because you have to read they are tied together, so you do have to read the first book. All right, so that's, again, that was the 2nd of December. So I have 2 other books that I have ordered for the 2nd of December. The third one is This Brutal Moon by Bethany Jacobs. This is the 3rd book in the Kindom trilogy. So the first book was These Burning Stars, and the second book is Our Vicious Worlds, which I have not read. I've read the first one, haven't read the second one. The first one was spectacular. This is science fiction based book, and I truly loved the first book. So can't wait to read the next 2. So again, can't read the synopsis because you probably, even though I don't think the synopsis gives away a lot of details, you wouldn't grasp what that is without having read the first book. Yeah, so we will forego reading. We do tend to do that a lot, especially with all the series, right? You know, like the romances are interconnected, so you can read them because it's about a different couple, but not so much when it's not a romance. And it's the same. Now, this one here, I think I can read the synopsis because it's a different couple. It is Sweet Venom, which is the 2nd book in the Viper series by Rina Kent. It's also coming out on the 2nd of December, and I have it pre-ordered. And this one, so these are dark hockey romances, and this is about a different couple from the first one. So it says, can I outrun his merciless obsession? I accidentally witnessed a brutal murder. I froze, pretended I saw nothing, hoping I could leave it behind, but my plan backfired and my life spiraled downward. Now I'm the target of cold-blooded revenge. Jude Callahan isn't just a hockey god. He's a devil no one cares to cross. My existence disrupts his stardom, prestige, and possible serial killer career choice. And he set out to make me pay for for that amount of silence. No matter how much I run or hide, he finds me watching from the shadows like a predator. I thought he'd stop at the stalking, or even better, he'd kill me and finally end my misery, but Jude has other plans. He says I can't die, I have to pay for my sins. And just like that, he drags me into his depraved world, kicking and screaming. So the tropes are dark romance, secret society, stalker romance, hockey, enemies to lovers. So it is dark hockey. Now, going to be honest, I don't read a ton of sports romances, but I kind of like the way she's sort of woven the dark elements with a bit of a suspenseful element to it. Yeah, so we'll see how this one. I thought this one actually sounded more interesting than the first one, and I do have the first one, and I haven't read it yet, and I'm inclined to want to read this one first. So I don't know. We shall see. I don't know how much they make an appearance. Like in her Legacy series, I know that the group that is introduced in the first book is the group that kind of follows through in the rest of the books. I read the first book, God of Malice. It was okay. I do have the second book, but I'm going to judge whether or not I continue that series based on how the second book goes. And this series appeals to me more, and the reason is because these are not students. It's not based in a university. These are like more grown main characters, and I prefer that. So now we only have 2 more left for December that I have pre-ordered. The first one for December 9th is My Blade, You're Back by K.M. Moronova. So again, this is the 3rd book in her military romance series. Starts with Leave Me Behind. Again, it doesn't indicate that you have to necessarily read them going forward, but in this particular case, this book and the one that I shared previously, they're interconnected, okay? Whereas the first book, I don't believe it is. Hold on one second. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the same character through all 3. I don't think so, though, because no, it's not. I just wanted to double check that. And the reason I said I didn't think so is because the character in the next 2, the female and male are blonde. Okay, in the first book, they're dark-haired. So that's why I thought, no, it doesn't even look like the same, doesn't look like the same characters. Because this is a continuation of the previous book, I will not be reading the synopsis. I did read that. I did read that to you for when it comes out in November. So those 2. But I like the fact that they're coming out close together. So that means that I'm going to read them. I probably will read them together. Like I'll put one in my TBR card set, and when I pull that one, I'll pull the second one with it so they can read them. Because it's just the 2 books together, so might as well. It's like reading one large fantasy, right? Right. Sure. Okay, so the next one is coming out December 30th, We Who Will Die, which is a romantasy by Stacia Stark. This is book 1 of Empire of Blood. Now, I did read this already. I read this as an e-arc. Again, this was an uncorrected proof of the book, and I had some issues with the formatting, and there were definitely some proofing errors to it, but I enjoyed the book overall. But I want to read the finished product, especially because this is the beginning of a series, and it is a romance, a fantasy romance. So I really do want to read it, and yeah, so I'm going to get this finished book on December 30th, and I'll read a bit of the synopsis for you. So, life in the perilous Thorn district is constant battle for Arvel and her younger brothers. And the vampire standing on her doorstep is about to turn their world upside down. Faced with an unthinkable choice, Arvel makes a magically binding vow to do the impossible: kill the Emperor, an ancient vampire created by the god Umbros. But first, she must enter the Sundering, an arena where only the fastest, strongest, and deadliest survive long enough to be selected for the Emperor's elite guard. She quickly draws the ire of the Primus, the powerful figure charged with protecting the Empire, but the vampire under the armor is the last person Arvel expects to encounter in the Emperor's court. With her brother's lives in balance, Arvel has no choice but to ally with the man who once shattered her heart. So there's the whole backstory there with those two. Yeah, I thought it was beautifully written, really enjoyed it. But again, it gets a bit difficult, I find, when you're reading these e-arcs and they're not a finished proof e-arc, and it really needs that final read through to sort of fix up all these issues. And formatting is one of the things that I find sometimes when you pull it into Kindle, it's a freaking mess. And it was a bit with this one. So that's why I'm very much looking forward to getting it. I'm getting the one with the sprayed edges and everything like that, hardcover, because I thought it was fantastic. So, all right, then we are moving into 2026 dates. And I only have 4 dates, 4 books. That's it. As I said, I don't order that far ahead, but once I start looking at the releases for my videos, then this could get bigger. And of course, we will do another one of these videos, probably January, I would say. Could be a good time to do this again. So I'm thinking, like maybe every 3 months is to kind of do a refresh on what I have that is my pre-order series that are coming up. And I do sometimes also mention when I'm doing the releases video something that I do have on pre-order. I do usually do that too. So okay, so the first one is an absolute must for me. That is the Cold Eternity by S.A. Barnes. I read Ghost Station not that long ago, a few months ago. Loved it. I loved the whole sci-fi horror element of her books. Love that element of it. So that's why when I heard this one was coming out, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm picking that one up for sure. So it says, Hallie is on the run from an interplanetary political scandal that has put a huge target on her back. She heads for what seems like the perfect place to lay low, a gigantic space barge storing the cryogenically frozen bodies of Earth's most fortunate citizens from more than a century ago. The cryo program, created by trillionaire tech genius Zale Winfeld, is long defunct, and the AI hologram hosts, ghoulishly created in the likeness of Winfred's 3 adult children, are glitchy. The ship feels like a crypt, and the isolation gets to Hallie almost immediately. She starts to see figures crawling on the hallways, and there's constant scraping, slithering, and rattling echoing in the vents. It's not long before Hallie realizes she may have gotten herself trapped in an even more dangerous situation than the one she was running from. So I thought that sounds good. I'm like, it sounds extra creepy. And being stuck on a ship out in the middle of space. Ugh. But I like creepy. So it says on the cover, as you can see, Cold Eternity, no one gets out alive. Love that tagline. Okay, so again, that's the 20th of January, if I didn't say that. Can't remember if I did or not. The next one is not a new book to me. So this is February 17th. I am getting the new cover edition of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. And I've read this already. Loved this book. I've actually read this, and I've read a bunch of the novellas, and have not read the second book yet. And I'm like, and I have not bought all of the books. I think there's four of the large books in the series. And now that they're coming out with these new covers, I'm like, now I don't want to buy the fourth one because I want to wait and see what they're going to come out with, right? Because I want to have them in these covers. So what I would likely do is then just sell the copies that I have from the original covers, which are, but then I don't know, I might keep them. They are the original self-published versions, paperbacks. But this is the broken binding edition, which they're selling on, making available on Amazon. And so I'm like, well, this is an easier way and a less expensive way for me to get it than to buy it directly from Broken Binding, because Broken Binding, it's in pounds and you have to pay duty and all this stuff. So anyway, I know, long explanation, but this is a book that centers around a land that was at war, and there were there's high lords, everybody squabbling, and they had thought they had killed off all the dragons, because you had dragons and dragon riders, and they had an interconnected weave between them. And if you killed the dragon riders became weak. So this is all about all of this, and it's about the journey of one particular young man and the potential to save everybody, obviously. So yeah, it's really fantastic, and I love the way it's written. So that was why I bought this. I'm like, if I know Broken Binding, they'll come out with versions of all of the books that fall in line with this. So fingers crossed, right? So that's coming out on the 17th of February, and I'll just read a little bit of the synopsis. It says, Etheria is a land divided by war and mistrust. The High Lords of the South squabble and fight, only kept in check by the Dragon Guard, traitors of a time long past who served the Empire of the North. In remote villages of southern Etheria, still reeling from the tragic loss of his brother, Cahill Briar prepares for the proving, a test of courage and skill that not all survive. But when three strangers arrive in the village of Milltown with a secret they are willing to die for, Callan's world is ripped from under him, and he is thrust headfirst into a war that has been raging for centuries. There is no prophecy. His coming was not foretold. He bleeds like any man, and bleed he will. So, fabulous. Love it. Can't wait to get this version. As you see the cover. The cover is like so gorgeous. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put up the old cover on this side so you can see that, well, old cover. The self-published cover, which apparently, I believe, the author designed himself, which I think is beautiful, still a gorgeous cover, and then the new one, which is hardback. So the one is in paperback, the one's hardback. I'm rambling again, right? Okay. Anyways, yeah, so I may very well keep them both because I kind of like the fact that, you know, I don't usually do that. I don't usually collect multiples of both, but in this case, yeah, why not, right? Okay. All right. And then I think, what do we have? Two more books. That's it. For the next one is Rites of the Starling by Bethany Perry. This is the second book in the Shield of the Sparrows, and I'll mention in a minute. And it's coming out April 7th, 2026. And I have pre-ordered this because I have the first one, and I am currently reading it right now for October. And I think I've got maybe 150 pages left, and I am thoroughly enjoying it. Okay, so definitely want the second one. I know there are some people who are like, no, I'm not going to continue the series. I don't like the series. I like it just fine. I like the fact that there's minimal romance in it. It's about the fantasy elements about the world that they're in. Freaking love it. There is no synopsis to this here. What I think is interesting though is it does say swoon-worthy romantic fantasy filled with legends and monsters. The Witcher meets Cinderella. I would say it's more The Witcher than Cinderella. Okay? And the swoon-worthy romance part is minimal in the first book, which could be why some people don't like it. Like, minimal. Like I said, I've got 150 pages left, and it's a 500-page book, and she just found out something major at 150 pages. But there's no romance. There's no romance at all. So there's like, yeah, there's no romance. Anyway, I don't want to say anything else. But I'm very much looking forward to getting this one, the second one in the series. And the first book is so stunningly beautiful. They do not have the finished cover for this yet. I'm dying to see what the finished book is going to look like, because the first one was such a beautiful book. And it's actually quite nice to read. Flops like a paperback, which kind of surprised me because it is hardback. Yeah. All right. Talked enough. Yeah. So as you can see, the cover, no cover yet. And the last book that I have on pre-order for April 21st, 2026 is The Cate Caretaker by Marcus Cleaver. And this is essentially in the same world as We Used to Live Here, which I just happen to have right here. Okay, so it's in the same world, but not related, like different characters. Okay, so I don't know if you would have to read the first one, but I think you should read We Used to Live Here, which I'm doing like a vlog on We Used to Live Here. But anyway, it says, I'm going to read the synopsis of this one because it is not related. Follow the rites. Nothing less than the survival of humanity is at stake. Exciting opportunity. Caretaker urgently needed. 3 days of work, competitive pay, serious applicants only. Macy Mullins can't say why the job posting grabbed her attention. It had the pull of a fisherman's lure, barbed hook and all. Vaguely ominous. But after an endless string of failed job interviews, she's not exactly in a position to be picky. She has rent to pay, groceries to pay, and a younger sister to provide for. Besides, it's only 3 days' work. Famous last words, right? Yeah. 3 days cooped up in a stranger's house, surrounded by Oregon coast wilderness. What starts as a peculiar side gig soon becomes a waking nightmare. An incomprehensible evil may dwell on this property, and Macy Mullins might just be the only thing standing between it and the rest of humanity. Follow the rites, follow the rites, follow the rites. When it says rites, R-I-T-E-S, okay? And then right at the very bottom, it has Morse code. So the Morse code is something that was an important element of this book. Okay, so I have no idea if he's going to structure the books in a similar manner, but the vocalness of the book sounds the same. The other thing is, if you look at this book and you look at how it's all split up on the front, and then you look at that one and how the circles split everything up, yeah. So I think that the theme of the feel of it is going to be very similar. So, I mean, if you, I would say you'd have to read this first, 100%. And if you want to watch my deep dives, so I'm doing deep dives on these, and the, I think it's the third or fourth one I'm going to do, and then I'm going to finish it off in December, finish off the whole book, do a full deep dive. I have read this book already, so I'm doing the reread of it and enjoying it more on the reread. My first read through, I think I gave it 2.5 stars. That was it. And then I watched some videos of other people reading it, And I know I'm getting off topic just a little bit. And then what happened was I'm thinking, I got to go back and read this again because I did not get out of it what I should have gotten out of it. And now I'm paying much closer attention. As you can tell, my tabs have become exceedingly abundant. So anyway, so I'm going to do basically the one more video, which also includes another book, or we're doing 2 books, and then I'm separating them out into vlogs and finishing the books off. So, okay, so that's Caretaker's last final book, and that's it for my pre-orders for now. Obviously, if anything changes, like if I do order that one from Book of the Month, it'll go in my book haul. Because I do book hauls. I don't do them all the time. Typically about every 3 months, 2-3 months, I do a book haul. I wait until I have, like, you know, a half decent number of books in certain genres, because I do like to split my book hauls up by genre, because I think then people watch what they want to watch. I'm rambling again. I'm having fun with this. I am at my 1 year, as I mentioned there, not that long ago, and I'm just having so much fun doing all these and reading all these amazing books and being able to bring to you my thoughts on these books. And going forward into January, I will be doing vlogs of certain books from my TBRs. So that's going to be even more fun. Can't wait to do that. Woo woo. Anyway, I know I'm silly. That's it for this video, and I guess my next video is going to be my next deep dive on We Used to Live Here, and this book, Will Bury Me, by Ashley Winstead, is the other book. So that's going to be the next video in the series, and hope you stick around to watch, and if not, then that's okay too, if they're not books that interest you. But then I think shortly after that will be my TBR video for November, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I will see you in the next video.